Now, unfortunately, eating disorders are way too common in young girls, women, and even men. And I wanted to make this video to share some of the realities of what it actually is like living with an eating disorder and some of the unspoken truths. Because there's still such a lot of stigma attached to having an eating disorder, and so many of these symptoms and consequences are kept hidden in the dark. Now, I suffered with anorexia and bulimia for over 15 years, and unfortunately, it took something really drastic to give me that kick up the butt that made me go and get help in order to recover. So like I said, I wanted to share with you some of the realities of what happens when you live with an eating disorder for as long as I did, to hopefully help you see that please don't wait until your body tells you something serious to go and get help. Please don't wait for as long as I did. Now, the thing that made me go and get help was waking up in the middle of the night with the worst chest pains to the point I could barely even breathe. I mean, I got up to go to the toilet, and on the way I just collapsed. And I remember lying on the floor, like shaking, and I genuinely thought, I am going to die. This is it. And I just laid there. And that's the only time I've ever had that feeling where, oh my God, my life is over. But something on that floor, it was like a survival instinct kicked in me, and that was the thing that drove me to finally getting help after being in denial for 15 years. But unfortunately, there were some pretty nasty consequences as a result of living that way for such a long time. I mean, my teeth are rotted. I have 7 fillings. I've got massive decay and erosion, and I'm constantly having to go to the dentist every couple of months. Not only that, my hair, I prided myself on my hair. It was so thick and it just was falling out in clumps to the point where I could literally hold masses and masses of hair when I was in the shower. And I had all these patches here and here. And not only that, I had so much hair grow, all this fine downy hair, which is really common in malnutrition, covered in it, all over my arms, all over my back, to the point where people would even comment in the summer. And it made me even more body conscious just from having this wispy downy hair that seemed to come out of nowhere. And because of all the purging and the throwing up, I would throw up blood. And that was a really scary thing, with the signs of blood and all that erosion. My throat was so sore sometimes that I could barely even speak or swallow. And this was just a sign of basically the stomach acid wearing down your esophagus. And another thing from the throwing up, my face here was puffy like a chipmunk from all the glands under your chin being swollen. And again, people would comment on my face looking puffy, which again just fueled that eating disorder. But this was so sore to even touch and swallow. And from the malnutrition, my period stopped. I didn't have a period for 6 years. And my doctor told me that, I would probably be infertile, which I was devastated about. I just could not imagine not being able to have kids or not having the choice to be able to have kids. They stopped for 6 whole years. And I suffered with hypothermia constantly, and to the point where I couldn't go outside in the winter. I was that cold. I remember sitting in my house in about 4 layers, a gilet, a scarf, a hat, and gloves, and yet I was freezing. I couldn't even function barely in the winter. And not only that, fainting constantly in the gym, at home, at work, people having to come pick me up, rescue me, multiple trips to the hospital. I mean, these are just some of the things that happened to me, but this is the reality of what it's like. And I know it's scary to think of all of these things happening, but I'm telling you this because you need to know these things, and I want you to realize that you deserve to get help. It doesn't have to be like this, and please don't wait for as long as I did until something really, really bad happened to me. I cannot let that happen to you. And if you're struggling, please reach out. And if it's not someone that you know, just reach out to a stranger And if anything, just drop me a message, see if I can help. Because the main message here is that eating disorders can be extremely dangerous and have life-threatening consequences, and I started experiencing them, and it took something so drastic for me to want to go and get help or feel that need to go and get help, and I don't want that to happen to you. So if you're hearing this, please reach out. Do not wait for as long as I did to get better. You deserve this.